to the MMA Roadshow, episode number 584. My name is John Morgan, and Cold Coffee was kind enough to invite me back onto the show.
Yeah, a probationary period.
I appreciate that. Back in Las Vegas, we got a lot to talk about. It's a busy week going on. Of course, UFC BJJ is tonight.
Yep.
There's a UFC Fight Night event at the Apex, and it's all, of course, before the card that everyone is talking about. Everyone is fired up one way or the other. Either they hate it or they love it or they're whatever, dissing it or they're respecting it or however. It's going to be a big culture event, man. You can feel the buzz, and we'll get into that. I know you're feeling it, especially not often that the USA Today proper brass comes out of the ranks and says, hey, little old guys over there, that little old fist-punching thing that you guys
that
do over there.
Fist-punching sight.
We need some help over there, so I'll let you talk a little bit about all that. But first things first, thank you, of course, Cold Coffee, and I'll give a shout-out to Goes as well for taking the reins this past week.
Thank you, Goes.
As has become usual on CFFC Fight Weeks, of course, plans just keep changing. It's just always hard. I mean, there's things that need to be addressed and need to be handled. It's hard for me to just be like, hey, guys, I know we need to get this done, but I'm going to carve out about an hour and a half, if you don't mind, to go knock out this podcast of mine. So it gets a little bit challenging, and I try to shift, and I try to move.
Seems like it would work for me. I think that's a great explanation.
Sounded good. They're like,
Rob, like, oh, okay, cool.
Right now, while we're setting up the cage, yeah,
I was gonna have you finish, doing this over here, but yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah,
go ahead.
You know what? Since you asked so kindly,
I said please.
Yeah, that doesn't work out quite so well.
Yeah.
So anyway, we kept moving it around, and as always, you were flexible. And finally, I said, "Look, man, I think to be honest with you, Sunday is probably going to be the only time that I can do it." And you were like, "You know what, man? That's your day off. That's my day off. We know got a lot going on. I'll just handle business." So appreciate it, and it is always fun to sit back and listen to you guys talk. And it's when I'm not on there. It doesn't happen a lot, but it's fun for me to get to listen to it.
We went on that one. I feel like when I had Goes on it last time, I had Goes and was it Nolan?
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to go into the fight stuff, but what's great about at least Goes, and then when I knew it was gonna be Goes, I was like, dude, I'm just gonna give Goes some time to shine a little bit. I was like, we never really talk a lot about our consecutive streak, but in sheer terms of episode numbers, it's absolutely bonkers. Crazy. And so those guys have done really great stuff, and he's kind of like me in the sense where he's there, he's behind the scene, just kind of holding the fort down, doing his thing. So I felt good to let him talk a little bit and give a little shine to their podcast. And even then, he was still very humble and quiet about it. But I thought it was kind of cool to just pick his brain, because when you think about all the different people that have been on that show, when I think back and seeing some of the photos and videos of fighters when they're still young bucks, before they were anything. So I was like, hey, this is something a little different we don't get to do, be cool. Even if we hadn't, it'd be a good guest to have with you here as well, because you're associated with those guys from back then as well.
In many ways, I owe them my career. You know what I mean? Obviously, it was not necessarily direct, but because it was, they connected with Dan Stupp, and Dan Stupp wanted to get recaps of interviews, and there was a post on the MMA Weekly forums. But yes, indirectly, my entire launch into this business is associated with MMA Junkie Radio Tag Radio back then.
Yep, Tag Radio. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was cool to have him on here and kind of talk to him about that. But yeah, I'd love to bring him back on, or even bring both the brothers back on.
We should.
And just kind of get them a little bit of time, because they're always George is always good too. And we have the Spinning Back Click show. A lot of times when we'll start the show off, we'll throw a little, here's my guest from this here, this is the panel, and he's got this podcast, this podcast. Mm-hmm. But then I'll throw a little something. He's like, oh, don't forget old Cold Coffee on the producer, the ones and zeros. He's got a podcast too, you know. So I feel good to get him on here so they can give him a chance to kind of talk about it. But yeah, those guys have been doing great things for a long time. So it was kind of cool to just kind of switch it up. And then I was like, we'll get to the fight at the very end. And we literally glassed over it. But it was just it just felt good to kind of switch it up. Because, one, we wanted to keep it going. But when I thought about Sunday, I was like, I know he's going to be tired. I know he's going to be busy, whatever. He's just getting back. And I was like, and then I wouldn't want something else to kind of happen. I was like, let's just do it. Let me just find somebody and see if we can get it done. Because I was going to try to reach out to Oscar, and he was MIA. And then I was just Goes. And Goes literally was he sent me a picture. This is how cool it goes. He sent me a picture, and he's laying in the dentist chair. He's like, I'm here right now. He's like, when do you need to do this? He's like, can I call you? He's like, can I hit you up when I get out of here?
Now.
I was like,
no, finish
finish getting your teeth worked on. And then he was like, okay, I could be home at whatever, blah blah blah. And then we got it set up and
That's
knocked it
awesome.
out. So I was like, good. He's good people.
No,
He's
he
good
is a
people.
great dude. I ran into him actually. Ran into him at the grocery store the other day. And we just chatted for a
Nice.
little bit and stuff, man. Yeah, it's a good dude, and I like that idea, man. We should, even if we just get together to go have a frosty beverage or
Yeah.
two, man. We should all get together and hang out. But it was great to be able to listen. So I appreciate you guys. It was a very busy event. Obviously, we got a lot to talk about with what's going on, but I do just want to give a little bit of shine to everybody that was involved with CFFC 154, the Thrill on the Hill this past weekend. If you didn't get a chance to watch on UFC Fight Pass, man, go check it out. Even if you don't sit down and watch the whole event, I would say at least maybe catch the main event if you can, just to see the way that it all came together. I mean, it was an outdoor event, and first of all, not that I'm trying to make any comparisons whatsoever, but the stresses of an outdoor. I've never been more stressed about an event, like not just in my time with CFFC. I'm talking about in any event I ever covered with MMA Junkie, in any thing when I was running a restaurant. I mean, I've never been more stressed out about this past week, just because you got a live event, but then you bring it outdoors, and so we're at a venue we've never been at before. We've got vendors with lighting and production and stuff that we don't normally have to use, and just, I mean, all this stuff has to come together in a relatively short period of time, right? Like the lighting and audio company, this company called Color Space Labs, they were great, man. They came in and built a huge structure, and they got that done, and then we got the
Kind of
cage
like the
underneath
claw
it.
at the White House, right?
Yeah, just like the claw at the White House. You know what? They actually told us at the Union League we might just keep
They
this
might
here.
just keep it here, like the Eiffel Tower.
This is great. We might just keep it here. That is the funniest quote I've ever heard in my life.
so ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous.
So
Like, you know what?
ridiculous.
We're just gonna leave this here. But no, so they built the whole thing, and then we got the cage and it. But I mean, so all that stuff is there's just so many moving parts.
Let alone the venue itself. I mean, at a beautiful country club, like the backdrop was pretty incredible,
stunning.
So it's one thing to do it at a venue that maybe has held these things before that you haven't worked with, and it's different at a venue that has never done this before.
Right. You don't know
Let
what's
alone,
gonna pop up.
How can you get? Can we even get this into a certain space? Do you have the pathways? Can we drive this stuff in here? All the little things you don't really think about.
100%, brother. You are right on it. All those little things, you're like, something's gonna pop up, and so anyway, so that. But then on top of that, just the weather. Like we can make this whole thing and make all the plans, and it all comes together. And if it rains, we're screwed.
You're screwed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know that the UFC is saying, look, the only thing that messes with us is lightning, right? Like, but we don't have that big outdoor cover canopy, and plus we're having
the
a big
canopy itself, even on theirs, it's only covering the center little portion.
It seems like if there's a rain and a little bit of wind,
whatever, it's going to be a fucking nightmare.
So dude, in the Philadelphia area, it was pouring down rain for days ahead of time. So I'm watching the news report from back home and just like, oh my God. So anyway, so stressful, but it came together awesome. Then here's the other thing. So part of the show was, there was a huge fireworks display at the end, right? Which was a phenomenal fireworks display that they put on. It was really cool.
Timed really well too.
Oh man,
I was watching the broadcast.
So cool the way we did. So the production team. So this is great. So at first it was like they want to do a fireworks show after the event is over, and I'm like, why don't we tie it into our show? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that we're like, well, how can we do that? So we talked to the company, and we're like, hey, from the time that we say go, how long until the first fireworks in the air? And they were like, it's like 2 seconds. I only need 2 seconds. I hit, you got to let me know because I got to have everything ready. So you got to give me like 15 minutes to prep.
Yeah.
But once I've got everything teed up and ready to go, I hit a button and it's 2 seconds.
Yeah.
So we literally had somebody in the production truck on a phone with them, and we had decided that whatever happened in the fight, when Dr. Dave said out of the blue or out of the red corner, like whenever he does that, because that's the way he does his, whenever he says the corner, say go and hit it, and dude, it came together perfect. Like the belts go on the shoulder, the fireworks going. So that's why I say if you don't want to tune into everything, just tune into the main event and see the way that all came together.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But the pressure on that was there's a noise ordinance.
That's why I figured you had a hard start for it. Probably.
So we had
and it had to be done by
fireworks had to be done by 10 p.m. or there would be a sizable fine for everybody involved. And I'm like, so we're going to come in here and put it up at 10:07, and they get this huge fine. Like that makes it. So
they're rich; they can handle it.
But we don't want to do, what I'm saying? Anyway, so normally, you've got your production time, and you know what time the prelims need to start, and your prelims need to finish in time that you have a main card start. And by then, you kind of have an idea of when, we want it to last about this long, but whatever happens, happens. This one was like, no, it has to be, like we're talking, it was funny because Jay Cowan, who's the producer the whole week, he was like, okay, guys, I know you don't want to talk about it, But let's assume it's like 9:45 and we haven't gotten to the main event. Like, we need to get these fireworks in the air and we don't have the main event yet. What's our workflow?
Yeah.
And every
Do you take a pause?
So,
do you guys consider taking a pause?
Rob refused to answer the question. He's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
Don't worry. Because so Jay's like, no, I know. Don't worry about it. I was like, we'll figure it out on the flow. Rob just did not. He didn't even want to give it energy. He's like, not going to happen. This is the craziest thing was, though. We were kind of joking about it, and he was like, we were a whole group of us, and he was like, it's not going to happen. He's like, fireworks are going in the air at 9:48 on the dot. Son of a bitch, they went up at 9:48 on the dot. Like, he was just being facetious, just being silly, being sarcastic. But he nailed it.
So when did they finish? Do you guys have the idea?
Right before 10 o'clock. It was spot on. So it was.
So you had a little. Wait, is it 10?
It had to be done by 10. And it was a 10-minute show.
Ooh.
So anyway, it was a great night. It was just super fun.
Yeah, that was good.
I'll tell you. So that was all great. So if you didn't catch any of it, go check it. And by the way, Kevin Peace looked spectacular. Kevin Peace, dominant, man. Like, he looks like a different guy at 155. So
he didn't bring no peace in that fight.
No peace there, man.
He is something.
He got it done. Like, his last fight was incredibly dominant, but it just wasn't exciting, and he knew it. He apologized afterwards. He's like, I know I got to get more exciting. It was exciting in that one. Like, he's always going to be a grappler at heart, but like, if you do that, I mean, you can be a grappler at heart. It's entertaining. So anyway, shout out to him. But I ran into Brian Stan there because Brian Stan was there representing the Travis Manion Foundation, and it was so funny because, like, I got to see Stan while I was here. I texted him in the week before, like, hey, just letting you know I'm going to be there. What's up? He's like, great, we'll have to say hello. Anyway, about 30 minutes before the show starts or whatever, I'm just walking downstairs to get to the venue and literally just, like, ran into him on the hallway. I was like, oh, what's up? And it was so funny because he was with a buddy of his, and he was, like, introducing me, and he goes, Stan's like, me and John, man, we used to travel the world together. He's like, he covered my career. He's like, then, we were always on the road together when I was still calling fights for the UFC. He's like, we've had cold beers everywhere around the world. He's like, including one day on a beach in Rio de Janeiro. And he starts telling the story. Old school listeners will remember where basically there was a group of us on the beach, as we always used to do. The UFC staff would get out there and be drinking, have a few beers after the show was over because we would get home late. And we started getting kind of accosted by this guy that was talking and then just was kind of messing with people, and it kind of started to get a little bit tense and violent. Yeah. You could feel like there were some other people showing, like what was kind of on the edge was about to turn bad, and Brian Stan just flipped into Marine mode, man, and he was like pushing all of us into a van and like, hey, you got to get back. I need a clear line of sight, and da-da-da as he was loading, and he handled it like he would. And, and it was intense at the moment, but he got us all taken care of, and me, like, definitely more than half drunk at the time, and like after it kind of settled, I was like, "Oh, Brian Stan just did Brian Stan stuff," and I was like being all goofy, and then we went up to Christ the Redeemer after that. And he's like, brother, I still have a picture of you at Christ the Redeemer with a beer in your hand like this. He was like, but it was funny because that story. I mean, I was always like, did he think I was just the biggest jackass in the world? But there it is. I ran into him, haven't seen him in years, and he's telling his buddy. Like, that was the first story that came to mind. So
that's funny.
I was cracking up, man. It was a great, great night. So anyway, I just want to give a shout out because the people at the Union League of Liberty Hill that hosted us were the coolest people ever. They were the greatest.
It looked like they were having fun. It looked like they were like, is this really happening?
They were having fun.
You see the dudes that were in the background as, fights were finishing. They were just sitting there holding their cup of beers, and I was just like, look at that.
It was great. And, man, the stuff that was happening, because where we had the camera positioned, we're kind of shooting out over the golf course and everything, but underneath that was the clubhouse. And, dude, they had a party going on, man. They had a couple of, like, roast pigs that they were serving, and they were hand-rolling cigars over there. And, I mean, it was a night. So that was one I won't ever forget. So, anyway, once I bring that all around to say I do apologize. It was a more hectic fight weeks, to be honest with you, are hectic now with CFFC just because there's so much going on. This one was a little bit more hectic than normal, but everybody kicked ass and it was awesome, and you guys kicked ass filling in. So
that's awesome. No, it was a good show. It was a good show. I enjoyed watching it.
I'll tell you another random crazy thing. From the Color Space Labs, the lighting and sound people, as they were showing up and kind of getting the. Because they showed up the day before to start setting up all the gear and everything, bring up the truss. But one of the women that was there, that was kind of walking the site and getting the lay of land before they got started, she's like, hey, let me ask you a question. She's like, is Shi Ming fighting on this card? I was like, what? She was like, she knew MMA enough that she had seen Shi Ming on like social media and loved her story and knew that she was fighting on May 29th, but didn't realize Shi Ming is in the UFC and that was a road to UFC. But I think hearing that it was on UFC Fight Pass, and, you know what I mean. So like, didn't know the sport like super well, but kind of was putting the pieces together, and I was like, that is hilariously random. I was like, the Shi Ming has made it into your casual fan consciousness. It was pretty cool, but I had to explain, no, that's actually happening in Las Vegas at the in Macau, where they're doing the road to the UFC cards. But anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. So anyway, listen, we'll talk a little bit about this week. I guess first off, good news for Canada, right? All the Canadians are no longer having to pay pay-per-view. I guess that's going to be the move everywhere,
Hey. Good for y'all. Hey.
Nice work there. No Stanley Cup finals for those Canadians to watch. Oh, yes. All those lower American states. How about the Vegas Golden Knights in the finals?
I think we got a game tonight, right?
Yeah, we do. It'll be going. Yep. So I will have during UFC BJJ. No disrespect to the athletes, but I will certainly have one pulled up. Great game one.
Boy, I'm telling you, man. It was Colorado, right?
No, Carolina.
Yep. They are good.
They're really good.
They're like really good. They're like super fast. When it started off, when I turned it, I missed like the first minute, and I turned it on, and I said, how the hell are we already down 1-0? I was like, this is not good. This is not going to be good. And then they looked really, really strong, and then the Knights started doing what they were doing, man, and I was just like, let's go. Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to
we'll be watching that. So
this game.
Game 2 will actually be tonight during UFC BJJ. Game 3 will actually be on Saturday during the UFC event. So, sorry, everybody in the Apex. We will have to have it up. But, Vegas, it's the finals. It's not like it's just some regular season game.
Dude, I took myself to go see a play on Tuesday, just
culture. Look at you.
Culturing myself, So I'd heard about this play called Shucked, and it was at the Smith Center. And I was like, man, I need to get back over to the Smith Center. I was like, I'm going. Nice venue. So I'm sitting outside waiting to go inside, and I have the game streaming on my phone. I look down at other benches, other people
Everybody's
had it
doing
on.
the same thing.
We go inside. We're waiting to go inside. I saw a bunch of different little places of everybody sitting there, people of all different ages, and half of them have their phones out watching the game.
It's awesome.
The play finally takes us in there. They drop the lights. They start, and it's into the third period. I was like, I tucked it between my legs and helped my program over it because I didn't want to I even tried lowering the lights on it because I didn't want. I wasn't constantly staring at it because then what's the point you pay for a ticket to the theater? But I would just keep checking. And then by the end, when I saw we won, I was like, yeah. I was trying to keep it together. And then the woman that was sitting next to me, she's like, so they won, right? And I was like, they certainly did.
That's awesome.
But it was funny. I don't know if anybody else did it that far once we got into the seats. But I was just like, I want to keep watching this.
It's difficult to explain, I guess, if you're not from Las Vegas or haven't lived here long enough. Like I'm not from here, but I've lived here 18 years. I think I'm a local at this point. But the connection with the Golden Knights versus like the Raiders and what I will assume would be the connection with the A's. Maybe the connection if the NBA team is an expansion team, maybe it'll be a little bit stronger. I don't know. I don't know if it's just the fact that it was an expansion team or the fact that it was our first pro sports team or whatever. But there's a real strong connection.
Definitely a bit of both on those, I think. I think because it's our first team, but I think, too, just because they were here, they started here. Even the Aces, which didn't, typically was our team that came elsewhere, they're fully embraced. Everybody loves them, but they're also champs, so it's easy to love a champ, And
that doesn't hurt either, right? The Knights were great right away as well.
Yeah. But no, I mean, this town loves them, and it's funny. Like, I don't mind them. Like, I don't watch a lot of hockey, but if there's a Knights game on, I'll try to catch them or something. But what's cool is even if you forget about it and say if you go out and have some drinks, the bars put them on there, and it doesn't have to. A lot of places, say if you watch an NFL, you go to a bar that's covering your team. There's like Raiders bars, there's Browns bars, there's Chiefs bars, there's Bills bar. Any bar in Vegas, if the Knights are playing, are going to have the Knights game on. So it's easy to kind of keep track. But it certainly does help that they're badass. But I mean, it's a lot of fun. But I don't think anybody's going to give us grief because I guarantee anybody at the Apex is going to be wondering what's going on.
They'll be happy that we have it on. They'll be happy that we have it on.
I don't know how many times I've had events on, and I know especially too, like some of the Saturdays when like the Buckeyes are playing or other college games are on, security will walk over and like,
take a look.
What's the score? Just people who want to, kind of peep.
Joe Martinez always has college football on.
He does. Always. He always has something on his. Always something laptop.
He loves college sports. He's always got it on there. We'll have it on. Well, anyway, so the reason I got steered into Canada was just saying, or into hockey was obviously Canada. Obviously good news for all fans up there. No more pay-per-view. It looks like that's what Paramount Plus, or the UFC and everybody's just going to try to push to, because for the longest time, yes, they got rid of it in the U.S., but there were always international markets that would remind us, like, hey, quit saying it's gone. Like, we are still paying. I think Australia is still a pay-per-view market as well, but I think it's so good. I hear so many more people talking about fights that happened and stuff now that they don't have to pay for it.
Just need Paramount Plus to dominate the rest of the world, and everybody will have it.
Let's get it.
I mean,
let's get it. It's going to dominate next week. So, I was just noticing today, so you're obviously just been loaded down, I know, with meetings and plans and everything for next week. I mean,
show this picture, which nobody listening can see. We've been chatting. This is our White House chat. The teams, one of the White House correspondents sent that picture. She's saying, "Look how big that is." Wow. We're going to get a better tour of the South Lawn, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're going to get that, but this picture of the claw everybody hears about, and that actually gives me a little bit.
It does look a little bit more coverage. Yeah,
that looks a little more covered.
It depends on what angle you look at it. But this photo that you just showed me, it does look like a little bit more coverage. And you are actually going to get a tour next week. So we were trying to time out. So I'm going to go. You're going in when? Tuesday?
Tuesday.
You're going in Tuesday. I'm not going to get there till Saturday. I'm going to take the red eye. I'm going to get there on Saturday. I'll land during official weigh-in. So I'll be there for ceremonials. I'll be there for the fights. But on Thursday, we were trying to figure out when to do the show next week. And I know that on the list there was a tour, a grounds tour, basically. And it turns out that that's early Thursday morning. So we'll do, by the time we do the show next week, you'll have already actually gotten to see everything up close, and you'll be able to give us a little bit of insight from seeing it up close and personal.
Yeah, should be crazy. But, this is looking pretty wacky. I hope it does not stay there forever.
No.
I've never agreed. I have never agreed. Well, and I guess we'll get to it when we start talking about this week. I'm a little shocked to say that I kind of agree with something Bryce Mitchell said.
Bryce Mitchell's take, listen, whether you agree with it or not, I've never been opposed to this event, me personally. Now, I know that probably a huge part of that is just the fact that I've been such a fan and such an early adopter of the sport and so passionate about the sport from the time that they were trying to ban it, that it wasn't on, you know what I mean? I've lived this whole thing. I've lived when the era, which doesn't happen anymore really, but like when you would say you were doing this for a living and people would look at you funny, you know what I mean? Like there was something wrong with you. So for me, when they announced this event, did I think it was wacky? It's crazy. Do I think that if Donald Trump just happened to be a fan of the NBA and it said, hey guys, I want to put an NBA game on the South Lawn, would the NBA do it? Hell yeah, they would. I think any sport that was associated. So I have never been opposed to this. Do I think it's a crazy, bizarre idea? Yeah, but I'm like, it's a crazy, bizarre idea involving the sport that I love, and I'm down for it. And I can't wait to be there, and I can't wait to cover it, and I can't wait to see history. And, I wanted to put my name on the canvas and have a keepsake forever until I found out it was going to be $5,000, and then I decided, well, just being there is enough. You know what I mean? So anyway, I haven't been opposed to it. But Bryce Mitchell at the media day yesterday, 100%. I thought gave a very reasonable take, you know what I mean? In that, look, I love the fact, and I'm sure that most people that clip it won't clip the whole thing, of course, but he did start out by saying, first of all, let me just say that every athlete that's on the card, I have respect for. You know what I mean? He didn't. I'm not opposed. I have respect for Dana White. He laid out I am not opposed to anybody that's doing this or opposed to anybody that made this decision. Whatever. However, I do not believe our government should be involved in entertaining us. They should be involved in protecting us, right? So for him, now I will say there is the caveat of this is the 250th celebration, right? So you're looking to do something.
It's adjacent to that.
Well, yes, you're right, because it's not on the day, but it's in the same year, right?
Not even the same month.
Didn't we? There was in our lifetimes. Now, obviously, I'm less than 50 years old, so I don't remember what the country did to celebrate 200. But I do seem to remember, wasn't 225? Wasn't there some celebrate? Nothing to this degree, but big fireworks
they do
displays
celebrations and stuff like that. But they've never done anything actually on the property or anything like that.
Yeah,
There's
not at the White House
for that stuff.
Definitely not the White House.
So, but they've never done anything there. But they've celebrated. Yeah, the 200 we did celebrations.
But. Okay, so anyway, I thought Bryce Mitchell's take was good, but we've been led to believe or told that no tax money is being used to cover this, right? Hasn't TKO said we're footing the entire bill for this down to replacing the sod on the South Lawn when we're gone. We're covering all of this, so it's not
they say
taxpayer. If you
But
trust,
but
it's
you
not
figure,
taxpayer.
yeah, but you figure anybody that's going to be assigned to work in that event, I guess you could say, yes, the Secret Service people, they're going to be there. They're assigned to do whatever. But Trump isn't there at that particular hours. I mean, like, say if they're off, all these people are normally off hours at this point in the evening. They've had to work during that day. Others have had to work the other day.
Yeah.
You have to bring people into the evening to work this event.
Yeah.
So there's going to be security staffing. There's going to be security outside because now you have people that are going to have tickets and stuff like that and to get in the thing. And I don't know how much of that is.
Unless TKO is reimbursing, which they're definitely not. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So at that point,
they're not going to be paying salaries.
There may
anybody.
not be any. There may not be any cash changing hands, or the government might not be purchasing or paying any of these vendors. But the way you just laid out, like, that is government resources.
And it's not like we'll ever see the line items like this is the breakdown of what we did. Dana's just going to say, I spent $60 million. We took care of whatever.
Right.
That could be 20 in Donald's pocket and 40 went to the production. You never know. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Just saying. There was just a congressional thing about how apparently the head attorney general said it's at the president's discretion who he pardons. That there's nothing that says he can't have any particular reason. So whether the guy paid him and he's a terrible person, he doesn't have to justify why he pardons. It's so ridiculous. But yes, no, outside of this, yes, the overall, like the cage, the claw, all the other stuff, UFC's footing the bill, but it's the exterior stuff off to the side.
They can't foot the bill for everything.
They cannot pay for the Secret Service staff security. You cannot have a private entity pay for government employees.
I'm sure there's like government security that's watching the site right now, overnight or whatever.
People that are going to be present, let alone just our own government that is going to be present, let alone guests, foreign nationals or whatever that's going to be there. The amount of people that are going to be there, the security on this is going to be absolutely bunker. And that was one of the things that I think everybody was just like, are you serious? We're grabbing half of our functioning government and we're putting them in one spot together. So you have to make sure that is squared away. So yeah, and then to think that you would trust that just with the UFC paying. Well, we got Joe from Security's awesome. Security Steve, you ever seen him? They can handle shit. Security Steve will stare down a bullet and it'll drop. But I'm just saying, like,
they're the man.
They are good shit when they handle.
But this is a different tier. This is a
different level. There's always going to have to be external, and so they can help pay for some of the security.
Security Steve's not. He's not laying out an airstrike protection plan or something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, and then I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on the outside that at some point happens. Like when you think about it, the city, Washington, D.C. now has to do things on the streets. There's going to be blockades. There's going to be other stuff. They have to man that stuff. That's not being taken care of by TKO.
Yeah.
That might not be the federal government paying, but the city's paying for it. Other people are paying for other stuff. So, I mean, it's costing a lot of money. And the fact that, I mean, again, it's here we are celebrating the birthday, doing this thing. Oh, watch us. His whole thing is like, I want a limited government. I want a small government, not about big, watch me, and oh, hey, here, watch this thing. And we should just keep this here so we can do some more stuff. That's his whole thing was like, job isn't to entertain. You're supposed to be small and protect us.
It was very fair.
I was fair. Granted, you go to the front of the interview and he was telling his story, and he get a very religious, about what Jesus went through and, what
very
these
graphic
meant
description.
Oh, my goodness. I was like, yeah.
Very, very graphic description of Christ on the cross. It was
So, but at the very end, then you get to this, and I was like, holy cow. I'm like agreeing with Bryce, on some of the aspects that he was saying. But then, as much as Bryce, he comes off the hilt and he says a lot of stuff, but then at the very end of it, he also shows humility and he shows whatever, and he's just like, I just want to thank you guys for being around in my career this whole time and doing whatever. Let me spread the word. Let me do my thing. Whatever. Blah blah blah.
I like Bryce Mitchell. I know he gets criticized, and look, there's some things that he says that are off the
shit. He says,
he's just a guy that has zero filter, right? He's just like, hey man, what I think, I'm going to share with you. I have the right to think it, and it's this thing you said. Sean Strickland, I think, is very much in the same. I think Sean's even more extreme than he is sometimes.
Oh, Sean had a really good video yesterday or something like that he released out or something. Another one sort of, like trying to be sarcastic and just going out. It's like, holy cow. I respect
having no filter.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, Bryce kind of came the same thing. He was like, it's kind of crazy that the only country you can't speak ill will about here is this particular country. And he's talking about Israel, but he's like, you can't even say it about our own government. And I was just like, look at these guys go, they're
wild, man.
but yeah, I'm with you too. He says some wacky stuff that can be very off-putting, but at the end of the day, he's himself. He's his 100 authentic % self, and he says a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I don't hate the guy. I like the guy, he says a lot of cool shit. But it's funny because when we first met him, he was very this general, hey, how you doing? Very polite. And then when he got comfortable, the more stuff came out. And they were like, oh no, what happened to Bryce? But it's still Bryce there. He's just comfortable sharing his viewpoints and his complete self, and you take him or leave him,
Lives off the grid, man.
Yeah.
He lives the life that he speaks of, man.
Yep.
It's pretty wild. Cool. He does have a tough matchup with Santiago Luna, the undefeated Santiago Luna. Very tough matchup there. Let's talk about the other things that happened at Media Day. Bilal Muhammad, Gabriel Bonfim. Intriguing matchup overall.
Yep.
Bilal, as always, respectful and believes that there's still great things ahead for him. Gabriel Bonfim, I thought, also very much was like, hey, man, this is the right opportunity. This is a big kind of a crossroads matchup, right? Like, this is Bilal proving that he still belongs in the elite of the division, and Gabriel Bonfim proving that this is his time because he's got that amazing, flashy record. But this is a huge step up in competition. So this is a big one. I still lean Bilal Muhammad a little bit in this fight. The fact that it's 5 rounds, Gabriel kind of tends to fade a little bit over time. We've seen if you can get him there. Obviously, he's got a lot of stuff. He's got great jiu-jitsu, but Bilal's got great grappling, great defense. I don't know. Part of it maybe too. Bilal's another guy that I feel like people hate on all the time that I actually really like, and I think is an amazing dude behind the scenes. And God, he's so good. He is so good. I think we've talked about this, but in fact, I know we've talked about it before. But it did get brought up. If you win this fight, what about the idea of you in Islam? And he doesn't. Like, we know he does not want to fight Islam Makhachev whatsoever. But he won't say it because he knows that sounds awful when you say I won't fight the champ. So he always just says like, well, if I win, there's no reason even talking about it. He's like, I got to win, so we're focused on that. I'm like, good job. Not saying you don't want to fight Islam. So anyway, good stuff. Who'd you pick up anything?
I went Bilal. I mean, I think Gabriel's a dangerous fighter, and he's explosive. If he can keep it together, I mean, he can beat anybody. But, man, there's just something about Bilal, man. And it's funny, I got him to talk about the Apex. He loves fighting at the Apex. He looks like he's in good spirits. Bilal, when he does what he does, man, he just dominant. He has a way of dictating the fight the way that it goes, and I think Gabriel's not good enough to stop that from happening. As much as he might try to rush in there and start, throwing big hands and trying to hurt him with his hands, Bilal has a good way of sort of evading a lot of those strikes, and I think if he can get a hold of them, I think he's just going to either kind of control it a little bit. There is a bit of an age difference, and it looks a little bit like a size difference, even though they're both going to have to weigh the same, on weigh-in day. Gabriel looks like a big dude, but, Bilal's not like a small guy either. He kind of fills up really good. But, yeah, I mean, just the experience, man. You have a former champ versus a guy that's kind of still just getting his foot. You got to give that champ the experience. But, yeah, so I'm riding with Bilal. I thought about Bonfim, because I think that guy is
good.
He is super incredibly talented. But, Bilal, man, he's just when he's able to do it, man. When he fights, because these are like the ones that I feel like you see him win. It's the when he gets into some of those championship matches that something sort of happens. But that's when you're fighting championship level dudes.
I was watching the media day yesterday, and you're right. You got to talk about like how he likes the Apex. It just dawned on me. I feel like the Apex is like perfect for him because you don't have to do the big press conference. Don't have to, you know what I mean? You don't have to put on all the show because that's not really where he doesn't really excel in those areas. I don't think he necessarily enjoys it either. But
he'll do it because he has to. But he'd rather just focus on the fight. And he's like, I like it. I can hear my coaches. We can do whatever. He's like, I don't have to deal with all that shit. And it's kind of cool. But yeah, because it just took me back to, and I want to feel like it was the fight. We were just opening back up when we had the tent still out back of the Apex, and I want to say that fight when it was so windy that they brought us inside into that back room. I thought that was the Bilal fight, and I could be wrong, but I remember just thinking like back when we were just starting to open up. I think we were just in phase 2 of when they were starting to let certain things happen. The casinos were starting to let people come back out, but they had to maintain distances, and we were still sort of locked down around the place, and we were there getting the fucking swabs over and over to go sit out there and do all that stuff. And and I want to say one of the first Bilal fights there at the Apex was back then.
It definitely fought there.
Yeah.
That was a time.
Well, it was crazy.
You know what else I noticed about the main event during Media Day was I noticed that the MMA Junkie Instagram account was collaborating with one Hero Guerra.
Yes.
Congratulations. You guys
Congratulations, Hero.
Man, you guys got a new member of the staff. I know we've known that was in the works for a little bit.
Yep.
I think formal announcements are being planned and made and all that, but I think that was the little tip of the cap of like, hey, welcome on to the team. Here's let's go ahead and collaborate with you on the social media. But good kid, man. A kid that if you've ever heard us referred to as the UNLV kids or whatever,
he's one of the UNLV kids.
One of the UNLV kids, but has been putting in his work for a long time. And I'm just I'm happy for him because I know how few jobs there are in this space, so to be able to get a full-time job with a reputable company like Gannett,
I got a story to tell you about that too.
and also just to get fresh blood into the space, you know what I mean? To get a new voice, a younger generation.
Yep.
I love that, and I love the fact that you don't have to pull solo duty out here all the time because I know how hard it is, man. And now you've got some resources.
Now I can be like, no, bro, you got to help.
You're low man on totem pole, bro. That's you right now.
You can't go out there and fucking just watch fights. You got to get in here. You got to help out. It's funny. So we're working in the process of getting them gear and all that other stuff. It's a matter of trying to find gear that's repurposed around the network, just like our computers.
Yep.
Always computers are, who knows what old-ass model you're going to get. This lucky kid, besides also getting a job in this market where there's no jobs, a job that has full-time pay and insurance, and then they send him a computer. And then he gets the computer, he's about to unbox it. IT hits him up and says, hey, no, we messed up. You can't open it. You can't open up the computer. Legal's like, that was meant to go somewhere else or something else. And he's like, oh, well. And so Chris, my boss, and his boss are like, well, he needs to have a computer. So you guys got to ship him something, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, scramble. End up ordering him a new computer because they couldn't get him one. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
That's amazing.
I was like, you know how hard it is? We don't get new computers. We just keep getting repurposed.
Yeah.
So let alone is he starting and this whatever, and then you guys order him a new computer? I was like,
good for him, man.
I was like, Harold, this does not happen. I just want to let you know.
That's so
this
awesome.
Does not happen.
It's so happy for him. I mean, obviously, horrible circumstances as to why a job opened
100%.
up for him. This is, and I hope he never feels, any kind of that odd connection to the loss of our friend. You know what I mean, for having this opportunity, but it is a blessing for him to have this opportunity. And he's put in the work, man. Like, he's been grinding away in the press room on those fight nights for minimal views, and I don't know how much money if any. I don't know if it was only for education.
I think it was just for school.
Just for school.
Doing it,
I mean, he's
building
been grinding
his
away. And it's funny how it works because, especially in the MMA journalism space, obviously lived there for so long, it's just like, you don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. You don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. And boom, there it is. And it happens fast. Remember when The Athletic came into the space for a little bit and just opened up a whole new series of jobs for not only those people, but then the people
jump
that came,
ship to go onto that one too.
People jumped ship to go there, and then it opened up opportunities. That's how we ended up getting Nolan King and Farah Hanoun, and it was during that time. And just all these things happen. So man, I love seeing guys like that who grinded. Granted, he's still a kid, but still, he was showing up for the fight night, showing up for the media days, doing the work, putting everything in, and now gets this opportunity. So
100%.
Good stuff, man. So if anybody knows him and wants to give him a shout out, a congratulations, or wants to follow him now to see the newest part of the MMA Junkie team, do so.
Yeah,
he's a good kid.
There you go.
Good kid. All right. Other things happening at the media day: Brendan Allen and Edmund Shabazian. Again, I was working during this. I guess I'm just gonna I'll never be at a media day again. I never.
Sounds like I'm gonna be at media day. I was like, I'm not even gonna. I'm like, we'll see.
And then the night before, I'm like, never mind. I'm never gonna be at a media day again. But Brendan, because Brendan Allen, he said he asked for this fight against Edmund Shabazian, right? Is that
Yeah, I forget what it was because I think he just looked at the rankings and who was wherever, and I don't think it was like any particular reason why he did outside of like rankings.
Yeah, not that it wasn't anything personal. He just wanted something that was on a win streak, and I thought I heard that right because I was like, I don't remember, but that was new information, right? Because I think everybody all along is
really weird for him to be like, hey, I really want that guy down below me, or whatever.
Well, yeah, and I should say he clarified. Because originally he was going to fight Dricus du Plessis, and that was so great. He's like, "Well, Dricus du Plessis didn't fight me because he's a bitch." And somebody was like, and then there was like 2 more questions, and then he was like, "So what happened? Why didn't that fight with Dricus du Plessis happen?" He's like, "Because he's a bitch," and just kept going. I thought that was great. But yeah, so it's not like he called him out. It was just he wanted Dricus du Plessis. That fight didn't come together, and so he was looking down the rankings.
I forgot about that.
That was great.
He's a bitch.
That egregious.
I just started laughing. I was like, wow, that was one way to just say it.
I literally laughed out loud sitting in my office, and I heard you laugh as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just thought that was interesting because I know a lot of people were looking at this fight like, what kind of matchmaking is that? Why the hell is it, that's bizarre, but it sounds like Brendan Allen was like, well, I want to fight somebody. If nobody in the top 15 is going to fight me, give me this guy that's on a win streak. Yep. So, big opportunity for Edmund Shabazian. I was actually with his brother. His brother was actually out there cornering at the Thrill on the Hill. So I was talking to him, and so he was excited. Leon is going to be on Contender Series later this year, so he was fired up, and he's fired up for his brother, obviously. So
when do we have the Bilal?
What's that?
When's the Bilal one?
I don't. You know what?
He's Contenders, right?
Yeah. Bilal Hassan. For some reason, the August the 11th stands out.
That's like one
to
of the
me.
First ones. Doesn't it start August 4th? Right around there?
Yeah, August 11th is right. So I think we have August 11th, Bilal Hassan. I want to say Nick Galante is the 25th, maybe?
How many guys you guys got on the Contenders?
We had 2, but yeah, the 25th Galante. I had both those days right. But I will tell you.
You still got the one guy that's going straight to the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, Sean Moore is on the Ultimate Fighter, so he'll be on that. So we have Nick Galante and Bilal Hassan both on Contender Series. I will say, I heard this week that we're getting one other call-up as well. I don't know if it's official yet, so I don't know if the contract's signed yet, so I don't want to spoil it if it's done yet. But I heard we're getting another guy, so another CFFC vet.
Well, the 2 that you got are solid.
Solid.
Those are solid.
Really good. Bilal Hassan, obviously I've been singing his praises for a long time. Nick Galante just keeps getting better and better and better. And he had
August 11th, that's the first week.
Is that the first week?
I think I have it written down.
Let's go.
I think that's the first week. Yeah, because I have it as the first week. That's a Bilal one?
Yeah.
Wow.
See what other fights are on that one.
Dana's always I won't say Dana's happy to see fighters. I mean, but if you're going to be on anyone, that very first one, that's a pretty good one to be on because he's excited to give out contracts and see the people.
I see. So I'm looking at Tapology for that one. Obviously, nothing's been they haven't officially announced cards and stuff yet. They got John Kuhneman versus Joseph Kropscheit. Bilal could main over that, but you got heavyweights. You got Matt Adams versus Anthony Went. Anthony Went, by the way. I wanted to sign that guy to CFFC. That dude's a force, man. He's going to be a problem.
The seasons just keep getting.
I bet they're going to put him in the main event.
No, I want to say better and better, like they weren't good before, but they're just consistently good.
Yeah.
The talent that they've been bringing on these things. I mean, I will forever. I love going to the Contender Series. I love being able to sit there and just watch the fights.
Yeah.
And then go. But they're good. They're good fights. I don't feel like we're watching. It's not like. I mean, no offense, like when you see people that people haven't seen, it's not like regional MMA or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like you're getting really good because they've done the time. Like they're cherry picking you guys and getting like the best ones. I mean, like the 2 guys that they're getting from you guys are really good. UFC caliber fighters already. We already know that. So it's pretty cool.
It's exciting for me too because those 2 guys have fought their entire career at CFFC.
Really,
and I love that. Like, and that's to be honest, like that's the kind of athletes I want to see in the UFC. I don't want us to have guys that like came and fought for us once, and then they went and fought somewhere else, and we're like, hey man, we put that guy in the UFC. Like, no, he came and fought for us once, and then he got to the UFC. Like, I love the idea that we can help develop an athlete from the beginning and get them all the way to the top. So, I'm super excited for both those guys, and it's honestly. It's why I love journalism side of it for a long time. I like watching these guys chase their dreams. Like I like being able to document and see this thing happen. You know what I mean? And so now I just get to see it from a different perspective.
That's cool. This Kuhneman, why do I know his name? Has he fought with anybody? Does he have a brother? The AK-47 John Kuhneman. He's one that's fighting on that 11 too. His name sounds really familiar, and I'm looking at he fought on Anthony Pettis, and he did some other new line cage fight, which I don't remember.
He's been on prospect lists for a lot. I mean, he hasn't had a lot of high-profile fights, but he's a guy that people talked about a lot on like prospect lists and things like that because he's put together. I mean, he's obviously undefeated. He's put together a nice run. I can't remember if he was talked about for maybe a short notice UFC call-up at one point.
I wonder. I'm just like, I don't know like guys that haven't been to like something usually, and I'm like, why do I know this dude's name?
Just dawned on me. He was probably why he was supposed to be on Contender Series last year, so that's probably why.
So he actually was on the card and then got pulled from a card. That's what it was.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's what it's. That's
it.
Look at that. That memory comes through every now and then. It's hard to keep them all straight sometimes. I know.
Oh yeah. Oh yep. Now I look on Tapology. It says like the cancered one. He had like a rib injury. Or I was like, why do I know this name?
It was funny because I was thinking, was he in the UFC call-up? And I'm like, oh, no, it wasn't UFC call-up. He was DWCS. So,
okay.
There you
That's
go.
what it was.
The rest of the card, look, this card is actually fun. I do wonder if you think they wouldn't strip anything out of the Apex for Contender Series, right? You think they just leave it the way it is, like the way that's all built up now? Do you think they'll slim it down at all?
Like seating wise?
Yeah.
I don't
think
see why
so.
they would.
Yeah, I don't either, right? They'll leave it the way it is.
You figure now they got to keep going. They got to go bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
At this point.
Still supposed to be adding stuff. We'll find out. Anyway, I like this card. Obviously, this card is getting no attention, and understandably so.
They sell tickets to it, though.
That would be great. Oh, they should let the public come into that.
Why not?
Like affordable tickets, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I know they're not, they're vying for a thing, but I mean, I think people would love to go in there and watch it.
Yeah, why not? If you're that thing they did the other day with the influencer fighting and stuff, they sold tickets to that, right?
Did they? I don't know.
I'm sure they did. Maybe they did. Maybe it was just invite only.
Probably was. I'm sure it was just other influencers. Nobody's watching. They're all just taking selfies of themselves, reacting to the action. Or I don't know how that happens.
By the way,
when I was watching that, when Rousey Carano went and there was the open workouts, there was a section inside the ropes and it was like this little VIP section or whatever. Like the first row or two was all influencers, and I was literally watching some of them shoot themselves instead of the other. I was like, so that's what it is to be an influencer. But to my discredit or credit, there's this her name's Lorena Parker, but she always did this Dora thing. But I was so proud that I knew her name was Lorena because I wanted to be like, Dora, do Dora, because I've seen her do Dora, and I stopped myself and I said Lorena, but she's like, hey.
What she just does like a character was like
she actually is pretty darn talented, but like does physical feats and other stuff. But then she's like dancing, but she did like Dora the Explorer because she's cute little whatever with an accent or something. But I was just like, I was like, yeah, those are all influencers because I even recognized one. And then it was like,
funny.
What's her name? Dana's favorite chick, Sean Strickland's friend.
Oh, Nina.
Nina was there, and then a couple other ones.
I thought that was weird that Nina was there.
Why? Because of how close she is with like Dana and them, as opposed to like Nikisa, Team Nikisa. Boy, Nikisa recently, man, he's been driving. You ever watch him like in some of the stuff, the post fights, where he gets in there and he's so like right there in the front. I'm like, dude hasn't fucking changed. He hasn't fucking changed. But no, I mean, I think they were probably reaching out to just, again, it was influencers, and she's got a huge market, you know, a huge following, so I'm sure they were just like, whatever. And it's just not like she's contracted to only do.
I thought she was.
Really?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm sure it doesn't mean you can't be a spectator at something. It wasn't like she was paid to be there or whatever, but I think they were probably just like, hey, you want to come do this thing? And she, like anybody else, if you were able to get access to go.
Why not?
I mean, she was sitting in front of the receiver, Michael Irving. Irving was like in second row, and then the influencers were in the front.
That's great. Too funny. Yeah. Listen, it's interesting, man. There's, I guess, I mean, we don't have a lot of time. We don't know a whole lot about it either yet, but, you just talk about that, the MVP. You got John Martin. I've seen John Martin everywhere, man. I think I just saw John Martin on, was it Deadspin maybe this morning or something? Like, John Martin's getting out there everywhere for the PFL, trying to drum up, media interest for them. Some interesting where they go.
Because they're trying to get a different partner, right?
They are. I mean, he's
basically
different
deal after ESPN.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. It's funny. There was a report the other day. I think it was Sports Business Journal reported that a renewal with ESPN does not seem likely. I'm like, you think? Like, I mean, when John's been out there open, and granted, his criticisms are all fair, but if you're negotiating with a partner, you're not criticizing him in the media, and he's been like, well, ESPN hasn't really been that great of a partner to us. They put us on at inconsistent times. They really don't do anything in terms of promotion, of promoting us, which that was a whole weird situation too, because, once the UFC left, you think they could have picked up the ball a little bit more, but like, when you had UFC on there, like, why would you be promoting a competing brand, essentially? So that was all weird. But anyway, I was like, the writing's been on the wall for that for a while. But I'd love to see them secure something. I still am interested to hear if, maybe there's a connection with MVP or whatever. But then Scott Coker comes out and says, hey, we're getting the band back together and we're throwing our hat back in the ring. And I saw a lot of people get very, very excited about it. And I'll be honest with you. I was speaking with Josh Thompson earlier this week, and honestly, man, like, I think they're set up for success. That board that they put together, that team of people that they have, it's a smart group of people that knows the fight business, man. I think they're going to do good. Like, and I want to clear that saying, I don't think they're going to be, just as MVP is not a UFC competitor, this is not going to be a UFC competitor either. Nothing is going to take out the behemoth that is the UFC. But I think they're at least set up to be financially responsible, profitable, be an opportunity for fighters to compete, and that's all we want. If you truly are, if you're an MMA fan and you truly are a fan and you are tired of their presentation, or maybe, I've heard a lot of people say, hey, I don't like the politics. I don't like the fact that the UFC is so associated. Then this is another alternative. But beyond all that, it's just a place for people to fight, man. It's a place for these athletes to compete and make some money and support their families. And I, for one, think this company could have some legs.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it's good that they have something going out there, but I think they're smart enough. Most of those guys, at least with Scott, have battled the UFC. They understand their place. They're not going to be trying to sell it.
Rich has done it forever. He's been there.
Not going to be trying to sell it for something that it isn't. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if they're able to take care of the fighters, I know we've spoken about this before. There's a lot of fighters that really respected the way that they were treated when they were under Coker's regime before. So I mean, the fact that there is another viable thing. I mean, there's people, even if you're stuck in the regional circuit and you're able to make a living, you're doing what you love. At the end of the day, if that's enough for you, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's another organization, it doesn't have to be the UFC, but if you're able to make a living and you're happy with what you're getting, it's good. Like some guys toil in the minor leagues for their whole career and never get called up to the big show, and they're happy and they have great lives and they enjoy whatever it is. Granted, minor league pay for, say, like baseball is a lot better maybe than some of these other things. But that being said, if it's another organization that gives an opportunity that's taking care of the fighters and the fighters are happy about being there, why not? Why not?
It's interesting because, look, everybody that fights has to have an incredibly high level of self-belief, right? Like, I almost say, like, you almost need to be delusional in how much confidence you have in yourself and your future, right? But so, if somebody comes to you and you're 6-0, 7-0, 8-0, and they want you on Contender Series or they want you on The Ultimate Fighter, like, absolutely, you should jump at it and take it. But I'll be honest with you, like, taking a path like a Michael Chandler path or a Michael Venom Page path or something like that, where, like, you build yourself up on a roster that has a little bit less depth. Because in the UFC, like, there are no easy fights.
No.
Outside, sometimes you can get some, I won't say easy fights, but you can build yourself up. But then when you finally do make the jump over to the UFC, your asking price is insanely higher, right? Like, you rose your way to the top of maybe a lessened roster, made yourself a face. And not that both those guys had incredibly tough fights along the way, but I'm just saying, I think it's easier to win 10 fights in a row under the Bellator banner than it was 10 fights in a row in the UFC. You know what I mean? Like, it's just harder. So it's not a bad path to go. It's like, hey, you know what? I still have dreams of going to the UFC. Like, you don't need to shut the door on the UFC entirely, but maybe I go fight for this other promotion as well, and we just see where that takes us. And then maybe my asking price is a little bit higher when I finally come over,
Yep. And, you want to stay active. You want to be doing something. Like we've said and people have said over and over and over, it's not for old people to do. If you're young enough and you're fit and you're athlete, you want to be able to fight and do something somewhere. You could sit off to the side training for a day that maybe never comes if you set your sights so high. You want to believe and you want to do whatever, but you got to have some tape.
Yep.
People got to see you somewhere. And if you haven't fought anywhere, you're never going to get the call up. So maybe, start small, start whatever, and then get those fights, get those reps. Make sure it's something that you really want to keep doing, because you have to have, like you said, you have to have that uber believe in yourself, but also, it's tough on those around you, and I mean, it's not for everybody.
This is one of the biggest things because listen, I get it. People want to have the easiest path they can. Like Chael Sonnen always said it, right? What's your job is to make the most money as possible for the least difficult fight possible. You know what I mean? And that is true to a degree. But I will say, I think there's real value in taking some tough fights early in your career just to make sure, like, this is actually what I want to do. You know what I mean? Because, like, you don't want to spend 8 or 10 years of life chasing something and then be like, wait a minute, you know what? This actually is not for me. This is not what I want to do. Like, challenge yourself early and make sure, like, oh, I actually do love this shit. I'm
willing to put this through my body because I'm going to be reaping the benefits or lack of, further down. But yeah, I mean, but no, I'm glad. I'm glad things are seeming to go. I mean, like, I hope it gets started and it gets something. I mean, we'll never shy away from the fact of more competitors in the sports, more opportunities for the fighters, more stuff for us to even talk about and cover in the sport.
Hey,
if the industry itself can support more and more outlets, that's always good.
It's always a good thing. And nothing to be said for, maybe a little competition for the UFC. Like, maybe the UFC sees something, and if they have gotten a little stagnant, or maybe if they, because Dana does feel, I know, very much like, hey, the UFC, it's in a good place. I got to focus on boxing. I got to focus on slap. You got BJJ tonight. You know what I mean? But maybe if somebody enters the marketplace and they do something that kind of catches his attention, maybe he gets that drive of like, nah, they're not doing that to us. Like, we're going to show them. We're going to flex a little bit. You know what I mean? So competition's good, man. So I'm happy to see it. And Scott Coker, one of the most well-respected and well-loved guys in the space. Listen, I know a lot of people loved him because he knew he had to overpay guys to get them away from the UFC. But it is true. It's like when you go to negotiate, you got to pay him more than the UFC is going to pay him, and that's how you get him. But a lot of people love them because, but it's not just that. Scott Coker, the way he treats people, man, he's a good dude, man. He treats people with care, and he's passionate about this space. He's passionate about
that. He definitely is.
He's not just doing it as a business. You know what I mean? Like, he's not just doing it because there's money to be made in the space. He's doing it because he loves martial arts. And he loves putting on events.
And he missed it too. Like having to step away from it. I'm sure he was like, I still got much more I can give into this. So I'm not surprised that he came back and
putting the whole team back together. Rich Chow, so I picked up CJ, brought him over there. CJ is a good dude.
Did CJ hop over there again?
Yeah.
I knew that he was gonna probably go over there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It is great, man. So. All right.
It legit is the whole team together.
No, I'm serious.
That's so funny. I didn't know that CJ went over there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So good stuff for them. Happy to see what they can do. Obviously, we still don't know the entire scope of what they're trying to do, but I'm telling you, I just think I see the people that they put together, and it's people that know the business and know the space, and I think that's so valuable, right? When you don't have to make mistakes because you don't know. You know what I mean? You know what they are. So. All right, back to this weekend. Iwo Baranowski versus Junior Tafa. Iwo, that dude's fun, man.
Bro he doesn't know about how to take a fight to the second round. He's like, nah. I don't even think he's taking it to the second half of the first round. He's just like, nah, let's just get this done.
I'm not ready to say like, oh, this dude is an unstoppable future champion simply because we haven't seen him tested yet. We might find out that he is he's the greatest one-round fighter of all time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but I will say this: when he fights, I want to tune in. You know what I mean? So I'm excited for that. Matt Schnell is back. I like Matt Schnell a lot.
He's a nice guy.
Super nice guy. Always thoughtful. He had one too. What was he like? They don't call me caution or something like that. Because anyway, it kind of cracked me up a little bit. But he's doing. And I actually saw that he. I didn't even know he's running. He's involved with a promotion down that does a lot of shows in Louisiana, a.k.a. I thought it was his promotion, but I just saw on social media they put that like now he's part of the ownership. So I guess before he was just like a matchmaker and a commentator, and he was doing that on the side, but then they brought him into the ownership structure as well. So somebody else jumping into the promotional side of things well. So I've always had love for Matt Schnell, man. I just think he's a good dude. He's had some heartbreaking losses and some weird things happen in fights, but like you just know that when he's going in there, like he's going into fight, he's going into scrap. So I love that, man. So I'm excited. So good card this weekend on Saturday. So totally understand if you haven't been paying attention to this card at all because all you're thinking about is the White House. I get it, but I think it's going to be some fun fights on Saturday. So definitely tune in So next week, we'll obviously get together. I think that Thursday time is going to work out perfect. Yeah, we'll do like a remote show because I don't get to town until Saturday, but we'll figure out your schedule. But man, yeah, you got the entire USA Today brass.
Network. My back might be sore from carrying the network.
They're taking your stuff everywhere, right? I mean,
everywhere.
As I walked in this morning, you were the staff actually asked me if I could wait outside. That you were finishing up some meetings.
Had to finish up some stuff.
Yeah, like Mr. Coffee is currently.
They are literally. It's just ramping up. I feel like we're having meetings to have meetings, even though we just talked about this in the prior meeting. But yeah, we have the whole USA Today networks looking, the USA Today sports side. So we'll be streaming to Junkie. We're going to be streaming to not everything. They won't pick up everything, but when it makes sense, but we'll be streaming to.
Like they won't care about weigh-ins.
Yeah, and they don't care about media day. But, press conference on the ellipse, they're like, hey, that's awesome. Yeah. Ceremonials on the ellipse, yeah, that's awesome. Post-fight, if Dana's going to be there talking about it, they're like, yeah, we'll take that. But, the entertainment side of the team, the news political side of the team, the sports side of the team, as well as like obviously the junkie side of things. But yeah, everybody's just like, there's nothing bigger than this going on right now. Even though the Stanley Cup is going on right now, I mean, it dwarfs in the sense of like what everybody's paying attention, because the Stanley Cup just lives in the sports realm.
Yep.
But when you talk about this, it's kind of breached everything. To ever think that I'm going to be on a chatting and talking some strategies and things with like the White House correspondents and other stuff. I'm like, that's doesn't happen in my normal shit,
That's why.
So.
Even like there was like an email that Nabi sent out to us from the UFC PR team, and it was like, the White House team has said, it was just, there was something there like, is that an email that she ever thought she'd be writing out? The White House team
she
said
is
this.
Swamped. I love Nabi. I've been trying to, because they were like, oh, you have to make sure that you put in your credentials for the White House tour because at the certain date it doesn't go whatever. But then they're like, you don't have to reduplicate it. But I'm like, why are you sending it to me again? I was like, I know I sent it. I kept my confirmation. But then I was like, hey, Nabi, can you check to make sure I'm good on the White House? She's like, I'm so swamped with this stuff right now. I can't handle this right now. Can I get back to you later? I was like, all good. And I'm just like, I hope I'm good. But yeah, everybody is just sort of like so swamped and inundated with this. But yeah, I mean, like, it's the biggest, craziest thing going on. Whatever.
So, it's funny because originally I thought when they announced this that a couple of fights were going to be on CBS. I don't know that that's the case anymore. I think the whole thing's on Paramount, which really, from a business perspective, does make sense, right? Because everybody's going to want to see what the hell this thing looks like. Doesn't mean they necessarily want to watch all 7 fights or whatever. So if you put a couple fights on free TV, it's not that it would necessarily, because this, I mean, while for us as MMA fans, there's some very intriguing fights and we're excited. For most people, it's just the spectacle of, oh my God, I got to see this thing.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, you would want to only put it on Paramount Plus, because I want, you're going to have to get a subscription to Paramount Plus. We're not showing you, because some people might only want to watch 5 minutes of it or 30 seconds of it. They just want to see it, but the curiosity is going to be there. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like everybody's just now starting to realize how big this thing is. And like maybe I guess a lot of people probably didn't believe it was going to happen or something, maybe, because I saw a lot of people thinking like, it's not going to happen. I'm like, yeah, it is.
You can't deny it now. I mean, like there's this huge structure that they're building there on the South Lawn. But yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. I'm interested to see what happens video package wise, because Dana's been saying this is America 250, America 250, America 250. So there's going to be obviously packages about that. But this is also the Don's birthday. So are we going to see a video package of Donald's highlights over the years?
I'll say this. Their treatment of Mexican heritage during the Mexican Independence Day show was phenomenal. Like, to the point that, like, my wife, who obviously born and raised in Mexico, was blown away. The point that my son, who never cared about being half Mexican that night, was like, yeah, that's me, bro. You know what I mean? Like, they did a phenomenal job. Now, granted, it was more focused on just the warrior side of it and the fighting side of it, but it was a really cool treatment of it. So from that perspective, I'm optimistic.
Yeah, it should be interesting, because then at the very end of the day, it's not like they have time to do mini docs, even though the Sphere was supposed to be like, they called them mini docs.
Right.
They were very short and they were very quick. Everything that's going to be on this is going to have to be short and quick as well. But maybe there's a little bit of time built in, because it starts at 8. It's supposed to be done by midnight. That's 4 hours, 9, 10, 11, 12. 7 fights. not a lot of time for commentary, a lot of time for
Yep.
videos and other little stuff. So it should be interesting how that all sort of plays out. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're right. The video stuff that they did for the Noche, but granted, that was formatted for the Sphere,
Right,
which was
which also-
absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah, this is not going to be.
This is not going to be that. It's going to be broadcast. It's going to be
That is
flattened
true.
down. But
yeah.
but that stuff at the Sphere was fantastic.
Super
But I
cool.
imagine that they're going to come, and yes, I bet it's some sort of like strength struggle, overcoming power of whatever, the warrior spirit or whatever. They'll have something. So it should be interesting. But yes, at the end of the day, it is still his birthday, so I'm wondering if they're going to you can't just put up a placard, or are they just going to maybe take the shot to him, everybody, it's Don's birthday, and then they see him sitting there and he waves and he stands up and he's waving or whatever.
When does he? So does Trump gets his American Badass walk in at some point, right? At the start of the show?
Probably.
At the start of the show, or after like 2 fights, maybe,
I
or
didn't
something?
even think about that. Because you figure, yeah, if he's not there at the start, that would be really
That would be kind of
silly.
weird.
That'd be silly. So I would think there would maybe something, because they might fill the first beginning of the thing of just celebrities and whoever's walking in or whatever. But I imagine he'll be seated there in his throne, waiting.
Throne, he says.
D-Devil built him a little throne.
Look, man, I'm excited for it. I think I'll tell you what. I mean, obviously, I think for Paramount, it's going to be a home run. I think
Bro, they're gonna kill it number wise.
they're going to kill it number wise. I think it's
crazy.
going to be bigger than a lot of people anticipate. I think it's going to be a huge number. But what I'm interested in, and I don't even know how you track this exactly, but the total social media impressions, like, oh my God, every news outlet, every
Yep.
sports outlet, like this is not just,
Yeah.
like you said, this isn't living within the world of sports. This isn't living within the world of the United States. Like this
Yeah.
is living.
I mean, if they're just even tracking the words UFC Freedom 250, everybody always tries to track hashtags or whatever.
Yeah.
When they track that UFC Freedom 250, I imagine the impressions of that phrase
Off the
are
charts.
going to be bonkers.
Off the charts. Because, I
Bonkers.
mean, all the news
White
outlets
House,
that'll be cutting
White
stuff.
House, UFC, White House, all that stuff. It's going to be,
Insane.
yeah.
Yeah, I like I said, wherever people stand politically, and whether I'm excited for this event, so I'm excited to get out there. Like I said, I'm gonna take the red eye on Friday night, and I'll be there Saturday. Be there.
We need
time
to
for
see some of the stuff in
ceremonials.
Washington that we haven't been there for a while, but just to get around the ellipse. I mean, this is our nation's capital. I mean, if we had time, I know it's gonna be a little bit crazy, but Washington has such a good history, and there's the museums and stuff there. I know
It's
we
cool,
won't have
man.
a time to really get to see any of it, but the Smithsonian and all those places up there. I mean, it's be really neat to just be there and see the history of it before it's glossed over and painted over and stuff.
Cold coffee. Not talking politics, but talking politics. It is cool. The last time when I was out there for the PFL finals, my family got to look around a little bit more than I did, but I did get to look around a little bit, and it is pretty neat, man. It is
neat.
It is. It's our country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And wherever you believe it stands right now, man, it's still our nation.
Oh, I had
It's
a buddy.
cool.
Speaking of like the tickets, so I didn't realize. So you either get ticket for one night or you get a ticket for the second night. I thought it was you got tickets. My buddy, he's like, I got my tickets. I'm flying out there. And he's like, bro, it's only for one of the days. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, my ticket says it's only good for one of the days. I was like, well, that's strange. I didn't know it was like that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if that was the plan the whole time or whatever. I assumed it was like you got tickets because then when they were like, oh, we're opening up more tickets or
Yeah,
whatever. But yeah, I guess the tickets to one of the days. It wasn't to both days or something. So I was like, maybe he misspoke. I will have to double check. But he says the ticket that he got was just for one day.
Damn, that's weird.
Yeah, not even the fight night day, and he's super bummed. It's the day before. It's Saturday and not
Yeah,
Sunday.
because they're free, but you still have to have a ticket.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yep. But Saturday's when Zach Brown's there, so he should at least be happy about that.
Have a little concert. Well,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it, man. Like I said, we got to get through this weekend. I think there are some really good fights on Saturday, so definitely everybody check them out. UFC BJJ tonight. Next weekend, we'll tell you all about from DC. Cold Coffee will be there earlier in the week than I am, so by the time we do the show, he'll have been able to see everything, and I will certainly be watching everything from afar. That's for sure, because I'm excited about it. This to me. This is a historic event. It is a historic event. I will say, I guess I'd liken it to covering the return from COVID a little bit. You know what I mean? Like as far as like in terms of newsworthiness, I would liken it a little bit to covering like the Jacksonville shows and that sort of thing, and that it's more than just the I mean, people aren't even talking about the fights, even though they're amazing fights. Like,
there are some good
the card's
ones.
good, man. I know everybody put it down, but the card's good. But anyway, we can get all that next week. We got some BJJ to go check out. Everybody tune in tonight, tune in Saturday, and then get ready for the madness next week. And thanks for listening.